Good afternoon and welcome to the marketplace. Coming up in this bulletin, oil prices surge on the global market by some significant margin after Israel launches airstrikes on Iran. We explore impact of this development on pump prices and the larger economy. Also, government to stabilize local currency around the 10 cedis range to $1 as it vows to maintain higher standard of fiscal discipline to sustain good run.
When it's a slump. But that would affect your cocoa price, right? When the US is hitting, right, you know it has an effect on chocolate. People fancy it. So what do? We go counter-cyclical to the US.
This and more coming up now. Let's bring you an update on how the Ghana cedi is performing against global major currencies. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. Crude oil prices have jumped to record levels, trading at around $74 to a barrel. This was after Israel launched several airstrikes on Iran. This has fueled fears of an escalation in the Middle East. But here in Ghana, what could be the impact of this on prices at the pumps and the larger economy? Let's get on Zoom and engage the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riverson, upon and economist William Babatin. Welcome, Mr. Riverson. All right. Dr. Riverson, great. I would like to get your thought. Is the Chamber worried about the current development, or for you, it's all about making your money and that's done?
Obviously, we should be worried. We are businessmen, and obviously the economics around the business is also very critical to us. And talking about this, I'm referring to the demand and supply bit. When our fuel price go up, demand will go down, obviously, to an extent, let me say that. And also the market, I would say, undulating movement. That's not specific. We've seen what is happening in the world, and this is exactly what the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies predicted on Monday, that it was too early to say that the crude oil pump prices of the product will go down. The analysis we have in front of us today shows that without the impact of the global hikes, we already see that the floor price that we have for the market has increased by roughly 10%. That is what we're going to expect, minimum, at the pump price next week. And this is different forecast, not based on the current high. Let me repeat that. Fuel price, so the Brent price is around 75 today from 64. So obviously from next week, you see the landing price going up. And this is exactly what we had wanted to prevent with the additional 1 cedi levy. Obviously, we're not going to have that no-show.
Dr. Riverson, I want to get your thoughts on this. Let's build some two scenarios here. Without applying the 1 cedi, levy with prices hitting 74 barrel. What could be the impact possibly on the pump prices?
Yeah, I mean, that could have hit us around the 15% on average, on top of my mind, a 15% increase for sure. But as we said, you see that obviously the city has now plateaued, if not going up or down, I mean, just on the same range. So looking at the benchmark price alone, we could have done roughly a 15% increase in the pump price.
Now, with the one Ghana city being part of it, where will be the direction? Many are waiting for the next pricing window.
Yes, so like I said, the floor price already is showing a 10% increase from next week Monday, as we speak now. And I believe that next week, when the hikes within the landing price of diesel and petrol comes at our port, we can take from the benefit of the doubt that indeed members have old stock, BDCs have old stock, so they could sell at a good price, which I believe can be the case for the first week. But on the second week of the window, we will surely have an incremental, I would say, prices. And then obviously with the additional one city also going to have an impact. So as you can see now, we are doing a 75 Brent price as of today. So that means that with this one going forward in the next window of the refinery stage, for sure, we will see flat prices going up.
If I'm not mistaken, did you project a 15% increment in price come Monday? What range are you possibly projecting?
Well, what I'm saying is that all things are equal. We assume that everything is equal with the current plat prices, because at the plat level, nothing has changed today. Okay, so we are forecasting next week Monday based on the 2 weeks window that we have experienced. Okay, so since nothing has happened in the market in Ghana now, we are assuming so. All that we are saying is that the plat price went up just a bit. CD has performed very well, and all that. So we are assuming that we are still within the same pricing window that we have experienced in the past week. However, with the addition of the one city, indeed, we are seeing an incremental of 10% increase in the floor price, and that will surely reflect in the pump price. So the caveat I'm giving you now is that we are just assuming that BDCs and OMCs will sell next week's stock even when the plat prices go up as old stock. That's the caveat I'm giving. But if things are not the same, then it might change. But for sure, in the second week of the second window of this month, things will surely go up. I mean, the price will surely go up.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Riverson Upon, the CEO of the oil marketing companies, still staying on this issue. We are being joined on phone by Professor William Babatin to give us more update on the implication of this development of 74 barrel that are short this morning, especially on crude oil price on the international market. Prof, could what is happening now derail the Ghanaian economy, considering the enormous economic shift we've seen in the first 3 months of this year?
Well, thank you very much. Looking at what happened this morning and yesterday, I think it has been triggered by Israel attack on Iran. And as a net importer of oil, a country that is a net importer of oil, anytime there is a challenge in the Middle East, it affects oil prices, and we face some kind of challenge. But as to whether it is going to continue will depend on a number of factors. One, it depends on how long this escalation of war in the Middle East will continue. Remember that Israel and Gaza have been fighting for more than 1 year. I think it's about 1.5 years. It hasn't actually affected oil prices, but now Iran has been brought in I think it will have some kind of effect. Two, it also depends on how the OPEC countries will also react. So if indeed it's going to bring down oil production from Iran and other countries, maybe we expect Saudi Arabia and others to also increase their supply. So it depends on how members in the OPEC group will react. And three, it also depends on how our managers in the domestic economy will also prepare themselves. And I expect that in our next year review of the budget, I think the Minister of Finance should be able to take this risk that is facing us in there, and we'll be able to know whether we'll be able to withstand this kind of shocks that is coming.
Prof, speaking about shocks, and in the interim, possibly in the first 3 months of the year, would you think we've built enough resilience to withstand these happenings in the interim?
Well, I don't have the figures, but if the appreciation of the local currency is anything to go by, then I can say as an observer that I think the central bank, and for that matter, the government, has some enough reserve to be able to withstand it within the next 3 months. Why am I saying so? So if the oil price goes up, it means that we need a bit more dollars to be able to buy, and therefore you have to go into your reserve. I haven't also looked at the gold that we have been able to buy through the gold for bond, through the gold for reserve. So if indeed we are also able to make sure that we accumulate enough gold, then we put our hands in the gold and sell them and get reserve. From that, within the matter of 3 to 6 months, I think that we will have some reserve to be able to withstand, but it depends on how long this price goes. So now 74, if it goes to 80, we may be able to withstand, but if it goes to the 147 and 148, as we experienced about 20 or 15 years ago, that is where we will have ourselves wanting.
Well, if you propose a consideration of this projected risks in the mid-year budget, what other policy options are available for your assessment?
Well, I think that when the budget was being prepared, I'm sure the government had some kind of figures that they were working with in terms of imports of oil. Now that the prices started going up, I expect that the media review will review whatever figure that we use and see how the numbers will play out, and then prepare to be able to withstand whatever shock that will come up within the next 3 or 6 months.
We appreciate your time here on the Marketplace. Thank you, Professor Babatin, an economist. Now, still on the city, government has revealed that it will be working to stabilize the local currency around 10 cedis range to $1. This follows President John Mohamed's revelation that he, together with the finance minister and the Bank of Ghana governor, thinks the true value of the local currency is between 10 cedis to 12 cedis to the dollar. Seth Tekpe is an economic advisor to the president and has been speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
This month,
if you are practicing laissez-faire, economics, and you leave everything and you don't manage, laissez-faire doesn't mean that you should not.
No, but I get from you that government is going to work with the 10 cedi 20 pesos and make sure that you defend it to be within the range of the 10, 12. That is what I get from when you talk. Yeah, we manage.
Is that we manage
the 10, 20 to 12.
There's nothing wrong with being defensive when you want to. So
that is what is going to happen.
When you want to stop even an own goal, you have to be defensive.
But that is what government is going to work with and defend.
I'm saying that is what we have been practicing. I'm saying that is what the countries that are doing well practice. Right? There was a time at the U.S. Treasury I asked, okay, so do you have buffers, of other foreign currency despite the U.S. dollar, being dominant? And of course, the question was, how do we manage the dollar against the yen? How do we manage the dollar against the euro?
No, but what has influenced, again, because you are close to the president's decision, and even the Minister of Finance and the Bank of Ghana governor to work with this range? Is it because you have the resources to defend this range?
No, it's economics.
Or what?
The answer is simple economics. The expression, and I'm sure you would have heard it, counter-cyclical policies. That's what it is. You never learn macroeconomics without counter-cyclical, putting counter-cyclical measures. You don't manage an economy without counter-cyclical. In other words, what it is saying is that there will be cycles, right? Positive, negative, right? Which translates from your cocoa price falling because the US is soft, and your chocolate has become, there's shortage, and chocolate has become expensive, and therefore there's less consumption because they are in a slump. So chocolate is a luxury. So people move away from it.
The Ghana cedi has been ranked the world's best performing currency this month after appreciation by nearly 16% against the US dollar since the start of April 2025. According to the Customs Division, the strengthening of the cedi has resulted in increased import activity at the country's ports, driven by a reduction in import duties. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the 2025 edition of the Meet the Government series, organized by the Ghanaian German Economic Association in Accra, Senior Revenue Officer at Customs, Humphrey Indum, expressed optimism about the development. The Meet the Government series 2025 was held under the theme Fostering Economic Growth Through Strategic Engagement. The forum brought together key public institutions and private sector actors to explore collaborative strategies for driving economic development. Speaking in an interview with Joy Business, Senior Revenue Officer at the Customs Division of GRA, Humphrey Indum, noted that businesses are leveraging the recent appreciation of the Ghana cedi to increase imports, a trend that is boosting activity at the nation's ports.
There have been improved activities as people are paying their duties because they now can afford it because of the appreciation of the cedi. Also, people are also importing more, just as they know that the cedi is appreciating, so then things are cheaper for them to buy. So then activities are getting better. Initially, we were worried about the fact that once the cedi appreciates, then the same target would not be met, but then it has been met with the improved or increased transactions and businesses. So there are more goods coming in now rather than the same old number. So that's showing up with the revenue. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Acting General Secretary of the Ghanaian German Economic Association, Hilary Saki, also stressed the importance of sustained public-private collaborations in achieving long-term economic goals.
As private sector, we want to engage with government and government institutions, and so we brought together the GRA, the free zones, the GIPC, and other private sector players to come and interact and look at how we can collaborate or foster collaboration between these organizations as we interface in our businesses, so that we can also contribute to the growth of Ghana and the economy at large. So basically, the essence of this particular program is for private sector to interact with government. And when we say government, we are talking about the engine that is running policies, that are implementing policies, so that once private sector is interacting with them, they can understand the issues of private sector in formulating policies and in their implementation stages.
The forum featured presentations from key institutions including the Ghana Free Zones Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, and the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. It was organized by the Ghanaian German Economic Association in partnership with the International Trade Center. We have more business update for you right after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on Show Business. Today, we are diving into two major developments that could reshape the digital landscape for content creators in Ghana, possibly. First, Communications Minister Samuel George has announced sweeping increases in data bundle allocations across all major telecom networks, effectively July 1st, 2025. Secondly, the minister has also revealed ongoing negotiations with Meta and PayPal to unlock monetization opportunities and streamline payment for Ghanaian creators. Joining me to unpack these developments and what they mean for Ghana's creative economy is cultural journalist Kenneth Awoche-Dako, who was recently on BBC breaking it down like nobody's business. Chairman, how's it going?
I'm doing fine, bro.
Amazing. So we've seen the announcement of reduction, increase in data bundles, and what is this announcement doesn't mean for Ghanaian creatives possibly?
So we know that a lot of the content that's being created have now found a home from traditional, away from what used to be the traditional places such as television and radio. Most of the content now sits on the internet. And the only way to access the internet is if you have, connection, you have stable, data, among other things. So that is why it is important that this sort of upward adjustment of the data bundles sort of provides a very good opportunity for creators to get more from the little that they are able to purchase in terms of data bundles, and so they are able to upload their content and ensure that it is distributed across different platforms, because we know there's a lot of platforms that these products sit on, and so the more you have data, the easier it is to circulate it amongst the different platforms and also be able to reach the audience that you're looking at. And so it is very important that this has happened and it is receiving very positive traction from creators in the ecosystem.
The minister also gave indications that he's negotiating with Meta and PayPal to ensure monetization of their content. So far, you and I have been using Facebook for years, but as to how to monetize some content becomes a key challenge. Most African countries have that benefit. How does this announcement go to benefit the sector? So
I think late last year on this same show, we talked about the fact that Facebook, for instance, is seeing some gradual monetization in Ghana. It's been on and off since that time that announcement was made, or that modality was detected. It has not seen any progressive, action in terms of earnings for the creative economy. And so that is why it's important that this conversation that Minister Sam George is talking about is had, because once there is some agreement between the government and Meta, which is in charge of Facebook and Instagram, amongst all those platforms, it is easier for creators to be able to monetize and get more value from the content that they produce. Currently, as we speak, a lot of the earnings that are being gotten by these creators are from third-party contractors who take the opportunity or take advantage of the gap that is in existence to be able to help these creators get as much as they can, and also they take a cut from that, which also takes away some money from the revenue that these creators are putting into their way. And so it's important that these conversations are had. That is why it is also being touted as a good move if this seems to materialize in the future.
What do you make of the conversation about the PayPal? Why is it a big deal?
So PayPal, as we know, has been a very universal way of financial transaction. Is accepted almost everywhere, especially in the West. It is one of the major means of payment. And also in terms of the technological ecosystem, we know that e-commerce is a big deal. Anything you want to do on the internet and you have to pay for it, usually PayPal is one of the options, or the most probable option that will be given to you. And so the fact that it is inactive in Ghana is causing a lot of creators to lose money from content that could have potentially brought them some revenue as well. And so that is why when last night the Minister Sam George mentioned the fact that he is in conversation with PayPal to ensure that they come back to the system. Because mind you, they used to operate in Ghana up until like 2004. So it's been like over 20 years since Ghana was blacklisted. And so it is important that as they indulge in these conversations, it ends up seeping through down all the way to the creators who are actually going to benefit from this if it sees the light of day.
For quite some time, we saw the back and forth with the minister on Twitter, tech guy, a lot of conversation, attacking some just saying before, there were a lot of things he proposed. I could see some slides and switch to the best data plan. But Sam George has received his fire and he's now taking the glory for now.
Right. So, as all of these things happen, it is important that content creators prepare for the rollout. Because, when it comes to the increase in data bundles, it's going to be implemented July 1. So we are hoping that content creators prepare for that. They focus on original content and also look out for that.
Thank you very much, Kenneth Awoche-Dako, for giving us that insight. We'll bring you up to the conversation here on the Marketplace. Thank you for watching today's edition. My name is Winston Kaki. Enjoy the rest of our program. Have a good business day. Bye-bye.